Today, we're going to learn how better to avoid and repair conflict, how to speak with one another, to hear beyond criticism into the needs that the other person is really trying to express. Welcome to Take Back Our Power. I'm Joy Bina. Today, we're going to learn about nonviolent communication, or NVC. Nonviolent communication, also known as compassionate communication, is a four-part process that encourages effective and honest communication. It can be used in any setting, including business, home, government, school, and between individuals. The word nonviolent is used not to mean physical violence, but to invoke the meaning of peaceful relations among people. Using NVC can help to create an understanding even in the most difficult situations. Today, we have two local trainers of NVC with us, Aviva Longinati, who was introduced to NVC in 2001 and has been teaching since 2003. She's been a guest lecturer in sociology, psychology, and sustainable living classes at UCSC. She helped to co-found NVC Santa Cruz and serves as the chair for the board of directors. The topics that she enjoys teaching are organizational communication, introductory presentations, social activism, and couples classes. Jean Morrison is a certified trainer with the International Center for Nonviolent Communications since 1989 and a co-founder of NVC Santa Cruz, offering community trainings, mediations, retreats, and classes. Jean is a co-owner of Grok the World, producer of communication materials, books, and games. Welcome, welcome,
Thank
Aviva
you.
and Jean.
Thank you.
Joy. Yes. So tell us about NVC.
Well, the main purpose, the way I see it for NVC, is how can we speak to each other and listen to each other in a way that reduces blame and defensiveness? Because our habitual way of being in the world, someone says something to us and we either blame ourselves or we blame the other person. We become defensive. NVC offers tools so that we can, like you said, listen beyond the criticism to what that other person is really needing in the moment, and we can try to empathize with them.
NVC helps us reach that goal of connection by providing a tool to help with our mind, essentially, because all of our habits that come out our mouth start in our brain, right? Mm-hmm. So it gives a system that helps us be mindful of, are we saying words and concepts and thoughts that create blame and judgment and distance from each other, or are we speaking a language that really connects us? And so the connection is based on universal human needs. And then it also brings in emotions and observations of what we're seeing, and then requests that we ask for. So it's a dynamic model that really helps people stay connected, even in challenging situations.
Yeah, a lot of support there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what drew each of you to NVC? Maybe you can share your stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aviva?
What drew me was the feeling, you know, as a young adult, that just seeing how many times people would unintentionally hurt each other's feelings by something that was said or done. And it just felt really sad to me that there wasn't a way that people could reconcile. And a lot of sad relationships, you know, ending relationships of people not speaking to their parents or their siblings. And I was always wondering, you know, what can we do to find a way to work through those hurts? And just sometimes basic miscommunications, even in the workplace. So once I was introduced to Marshall Rosenberg, who was the founder of Nonviolent Communication, what he offered was a way to think about things like Jean was talking about, and a real practical tools to what to do in the moment when you're feeling, you know, defensive. it really drew me in, and it's made a huge difference in my life with my marriage, which was a happy marriage to begin with, but now it's even more enriched, and with all my relations.
Wonderful. And for you, Jean, what drew you in?
Well, my history of caring about communication goes back to really, really young age when my parents, who did love each other, also just had these ongoing conflict, and verbal fighting was predominant in my house of as a little girl. And I remember thinking, there's got to be a different way. I just really wanted them to. I wanted them to be in harmony. I wanted our home to be in harmony, and I didn't have a tool. I didn't have any power in my own voice to speak up about that. And I stayed really kind of shy of any speaking out in that way until I got to school and found my own voice. And then communication's always been important. And in my 30s, friends told me about a workshop that the founder, Marshall Rosenberg, that Aviva just mentioned, he was giving in San Francisco. And I was already in the field of counseling and working with people, and I had my master's in counseling and psychology, and so I'm always looking for tools that would help me in my work and bless me in my life. And when I heard 3 hours of him giving an intro, I was completely sold, because it spoke to my heart, it spoke to my brain, and my body relaxed, knowing that this was going to be something very powerful for me to live and to share, because I didn't want to share it if I wasn't, taking it in myself to use the tool.
And Marshall Rosenberg is passed now.
Just this past February, yeah.
But there are a number of books that he's written, and if people want to read.
There's a lot of materials out that Marshall has written, and then a lot of other people have materials and books out too, but his main book is in all the county libraries and easy to get on Amazon.
Yes, on Amazon.
Or cnvc.org has almost all the book materials that are out there,
Yeah. Well, let's get into the meat of it here and do some role playing so our viewers can really have an idea of what we're talking about.
Yeah, we got together and kind of thought, well, what are some typical situations that we hear over and over and over again? Because our nonprofit in Santa Cruz, NVC Santa Cruz, we offer a lot of what we call conflict improv. So we hear people naming their conflicts, and so we chose a few that we thought would be interesting for this audience too.
Wonderful.
Though we'll do them without script, we did give ourselves names and kind of thought of the situation, but otherwise we're winging it.
Very good.
Yeah,
we like that.
Yeah, we'd like to play it that way.
All right, ladies, go for it.
Did we want to?
Yeah, I think first we want to give an
just
overview.
a little process here. So this is a visual representation that works for me about what happens in a conflict situation, what our choices are. So you see here two people starting an argument. And they bring all kinds of things. They bring their life experience, they bring their temperaments, and they're in conflict and don't know what to do. So it's a choice point for one or both of them. They can do the usual habitual thing that we all do, and that's to react in anger, blame, shame, defensiveness. And then that keeps us obviously disconnected. Or NVC and other communication models give us a choice to go a different path. And in NVC, the first thing that we try to do is to give, like we would listen carefully and compassionately to another person, we listen to ourselves, even if it's just a quick moment of what am I needing? And we call it self-empathy. We look at our thoughts. Like Jean said, so many of our feelings start with our thoughts, our judgments. Oh, this is in front of your face.
That's
I just
totally
realized.
fine. My face doesn't need to be in it right now.
What are our feelings? What are our needs? And what are the requests of ourself or the other person that we're communicating with? And then after we've done self-empathy, then we have the wherewithal to give empathy to the other person by guessing at what they're feeling and what they're needing. And then when they've been heard, we can express ourselves. So this is a very short and simple, which is, it's never simple, but this is a short explanation of the process of NVC.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and so
Anything before we
I was
put
just
it
going to
down,
say
Jean?
the places where you said there's thoughts, feelings, needs, and requests. So I want to refer to this up here. So this center part represents these thoughts, things, what you see and hear, and your emotions or your feelings, and your needs and values, and then what action or request you want to take. So you see this big giraffe sitting in the middle, and Marshall started using a visual to help us as we're learning this process, to help us see that this giraffe that represented big heart, they have a 27-pound heart, that it's coming from a heartful place. And also, their height says, I want to take in a bigger perspective. So it's used as a symbol for, it's called Giraffe Language, or NVC, the language of giraffe, or the language of the heart. And you notice in the black and white print out here, this little guy, the jackal, is kind of that reactive habits that every audience I've ever asked, I ask how many have these kinds of habits in some of your thinking and speaking. And 100% of the room raises their hand, because we've all been in situations where we judge or interpret or assume, or we do labels or shoulds or expectations, or we have demands. And so when we're out there, it isn't like I'm not ever going to have those habits, but I can catch myself and go, okay, I want to come back in and come from this place, and use these 4 tools that end up being so clear and able to connect with these 4 in you as I'm listening to you, and these 4 in me as I'm speaking. So this is, you'll hear Aviva and I in our role plays. We're going to start off kind of with some habitual jackal, and it might sound familiar. Sometimes people say, oh, you didn't swear enough, but we're not going to do that here. We're just going to...
we only have a half an hour, so
right.
we're going to be succinct about
yes.
the way we
going to be kind of short.
Yeah.
So let's start off, let's see, we chose to do the couple one first. And I'm Terry, and you're Mac. And I'm coming in the room. And you're on the couch, and I'm walking in the room, and...
Yeah, and I greet you, so I'll start. Okay. Oh, hi, Terry. It's nice to see you. I haven't seen you all day. Here, come sit next to me on the couch. Be nice to just sit and watch TV.
On top of the papers and all that other crap you have sitting there.
Let me just move it for you. Here, let me just move it for you.
Thank you. But, I don't really want to sit down. I mean, your stuff is all over the couch and all over the room, and this is every time I come in this room, I don't even want to sit in it. I'm getting so grumpy. I'm just going to go in the kitchen.
Good. Go ahead.
Ew, that doesn't feel good. But I've had some conversations like that in pre-NVC. So so that was kind of the no connection really. A lot of judgment from Terry's part.
Yeah.
So Terry took a class in NVC, determined to shift that dynamic that kept repeating. So my self-empathy, knowing that I'm going to come in a room, Mac's probably going to still have the same habits of having his things lying on the couch and various places in the living room. So I'm going to approach it from a different place. And because I know I care about, so this is that self-connection first, I do care about feeling comfortable as he does. He feels very comfortable in the room. And he's warm and welcoming of me, and I want to feel that my needs for some aesthetics and my own comfort and my own ease are there as well. So I'm just going to open with that self-connection because I'm more ready, and I want to keep the connection with him. So I'm walking in the room.
Okay. Hey, Terry, it's nice to see you. I haven't seen you all day. Here, come sit on the couch with me.
Yeah.
We'll watch TV together.
Okay, well, how about if you move a few things, right?
Could you sure. Here, let me take some of that. We'll just put it over here.
I'll move some too.
Okay, here, now, there's some space.
That's better. Yeah, thanks. Because actually, before we watch TV, I'd love to talk to you a little bit. I've been concerned how we've talked before about how I feel in this room, and I'd like to really try it again in a different way. You up for that for about maybe 5 minutes?
Yeah, if it's a different way.
I can understand you'd want it different. Me too. And I regret some of the ways that I've spoken to you before about your things in the room. And, I know you've said you're really comfortable in this room and you really like this room.
Yeah,
and I'm
it's got all my
really glad.
stuff and
I'm really glad. And I want to feel that way too. I want to feel really comfortable in this room. So I don't want it to be my way or your way. I want us both to feel comfortable, like both of our needs matter.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm really glad your needs are met. You're comfortable. But so what I'm hoping is that you and I can talk a little bit about what are some things that we would both enjoy changing in here that could help me be comfortable. Would you be up for brainstorming a few of those things?
Yeah, I mean, the way you say it, I want you to be comfortable. I mean, you know, I want you to be comfortable. I care about you. I'm a little nervous about you asking me to throw stuff away, but I'm up for talking about it.
Yeah, well, thanks for saying that part, because I don't want to ask you to throw stuff away.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay. I'm up for talking about it.
Good, thanks.
Okay.
And then can we set the clock, because I really don't want it to go on. I want it 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
What a great
feeling
reframe.
comfortable already.
All right.
Great reframe. Yeah. And you know, along with the NVC skills that you brought, I'm sure in anticipating coming home, you're
Oh, exactly. I get ready for stuff.
You're
yeah,
ready.
whether
You're
it's
ready to
Jean
be
or it's Terry,
confronted with
or it's
this,
Terry, right?
And you're
Yeah.
taking a breath before you're walking in the house.
Yeah.
And you're preparing yourself to use those skills.
Well, a lot of patterns of conflict are there in families or coworkers or people that have been around each other a lot. There's
Yeah.
usually patterns of some conflict or discord.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's so suppressed that it doesn't come out verbally all the time, but it's there. So knowing those, we can approach them and use this system, live this system. Not just, I don't want to use it on anybody. I want to live it.
Right.
I want it to live in my body and mind, even if the other person doesn't know it.
Right.
And I think the key thing that at playing in the role play as Mac, what kind of softened me was when you said, I want both of our needs to matter.
Yeah.
And that's really, one of the heart places of NVC is that, I believe you can get your needs met, I can get my needs met, or values, wishes, whatever, and I want your needs to be met, and I trust that you want mine. And I think so much in our culture, we feel nervous that if I do for you, I'm not going to get my needs met.
Yeah.
And so we get constricted and think, well, wait a minute,
Yeah.
But these tools give us a way to really work on both parties getting what they need.
And a person practiced in NVC when they're approaching, let's say, their husband or wife, and they sense that irritation or anger in their voice, or they just start with the old story. The person practiced in NVC can look at that individual and say, oh, their needs aren't being met. They're worried that their needs aren't going to get met.
Exactly.
And shift it for themselves, because everybody wants to meet each other's needs. It's our
do.
deepest desire.
It is.
So it's, in addition to these tools, it's about breathing, moving slowly, and
Staying
utilizing.
it's conscious.
And practice.
Staying conscious. Yeah.
Practice.
Yeah.
And empathy,
'Cause- yeah.
empathy for the other person in the moment, the person that has taken the breath and has some more of the skills, they can go, okay, this is a moment for empathy. Like in that choice point, I can react or I can empathize. And I know that if I empathize with you and you feel heard and understood, at some point you're going to want to know about me. You're going to feel like, wow, I wonder what's going on for her. And then I get, to speak my truth. It's not just a one-way street. It's two ways, but someone's got to start it.
Somebody's going to start it. And practice. I mean, these are habits that have been ingrained for a lifetime, and we have to be patient with ourselves.
Yeah.
People
and
would
just
ask,
keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, and then as you say, it becomes part of who you are.
Yeah, people would ask Marshall over and over and over again, how can I get on the fast track to learn this? And he would say, year after year, practice, practice, practice. I mean, it is any skill.
It's like learning a new language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, let's go ahead and do another role play. Let's do a workplace one.
Workplace, that would be
I'm going to be
value.
I'm Marge, the manager. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Edwina, the employee.
Marge and Edwina.
Okay.
And
So
you catch me in the hall first. I can't remember how.
yeah,
we
so
started
I'm
this.
Edwina, and I'm unhappy. I'm really feeling really
Back to this.
frustrated at work that I have too much work. And
you're going to be the one shifting,
Yeah.
right? So you start with
yeah.
that.
So I
and
just catch you in the hallway in between while you're busy doing something else.
then, okay, in the hallway, and I'm already busy. Okay.
Yeah. So well, hey, Marge. I've been wanting to talk to you, and I just haven't found a moment. But I'm really overworked. I am overwhelmed with my work. And
Yeah,
it's just I can't get through everything by 5 o'clock, and I'm staying late. I'm coming early.
This is not. Could we set up a time if you really need to talk about a situation? I'm not going to be able to hear it now.
Okay.
I'm on my way somewhere. And
Okay. We'll set up a time.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
That worked better for me. I appreciate it.
Okay. So good thing that she stopped me, because now I get to go back to my office and collect myself before we speak. So what I'm going to say to myself before I go speak to Marge is, let's see, I'm feeling overwhelmed, overworked, I have too much to do, but I also know that I really love this job because I feel like it's very purposeful. We serve clients, and it's a wonderful nonprofit. So I want to find a way to make it work for me, and I want to do my best to listen to Marge and what she has to say and what's her viewpoint. Okay, I'm ready to talk.
So now this is later, and you come in my office because
Right.
we've set a little appointment.
Right.
So now I'm actually ready to be here for you.
Right. So thanks for putting aside time for me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was
And
so rushed the other day. I knew I couldn't
Well, I
really
regret
attend.
having stopped you in the hallway. I
okay.
was just spilling over with,
It happens.
emotions.
Yeah.
So thank you for taking
Sure.
the time to do this. So what I want to
What's going
say
on?
is, well, I'm struggling to get all my work done in the time frame that's given. And I want you to know I really do love this job. I love what we do in this nonprofit. I like serving clients, but I go home really stressed out every day. And so my need is, to have a more peaceful, serene day at work. And I also really want to do a good job because I value doing a good job. So I'm confused as to what to do because it feels like more than my job description. And I find myself coming in early and staying late, and I know we're not supposed to do that. So I'm wondering
Gosh,
what
Well,
we can do to figure this out.
I'm glad to know that this is happening, but I don't see. I mean, I know what your job description is, and everybody before you who had it was able to do all the work. So I'm wondering if it's your efficiency, or if you're taking too much time on some things that don't need it. I can't prioritize that for you. I think that's part of what you need to really look at, because I'm kind of at a loss to jump in. If you have a proposal for what you need, I'm happy to talk about that. But
okay, so
I'm not sure I'm your person right now.
okay, so you've never done this job, and you've seen other people do it in the time allotted, and so you don't really have any solutions to offer me right now.
Well, and I don't want to work. I mean, I think this is up to you to figure out how to.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my office and make a proposal. I'm going to wrap this up too because I just got a time check. We have 5 minutes. So
Okay.
I'm going to go back to my office and make a proposal if I think of a solution, that I need to talk to you about. Otherwise, I'll handle it myself.
Okay, well, that's a start. I mean, I don't want you to think I don't care about what's going on, but from what you presented, I'd rather you came with something that I don't have to do as much work to figure out how to do your job.
I do hear that. I hear that. I will come with a proposal.
Okay.
If I'm choosing to make any changes in my day.
Thank you. So we'll set up a time for that.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
So again, a reframe where you were moving more toward getting your needs met, but realizing that you're going to need to take some responsibility in that. And
Well, I realized too that she wasn't in the solution giving.
Yeah.
She wasn't in the solution mood, so that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to take care of myself. I'm going to meet my own needs. That's the other beautiful thing in NVC.
Yeah.
Is if the other person's not in the mood for helping, meet needs, then we get to meet our own needs in some creative way, whatever that might be. But if I'm not angry at her, then I have more energy to meet my needs in my workplace, how it works for me.
yeah, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
our
Yeah,
job
well,
isn't to change anybody. I mean, I'll start off a workshop a lot of times and I'll say, how many are here because you really wish somebody in your life would change? And everybody raises their hand.
Yeah.
But we all know we can't really do that, even though we want to.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I so appreciate the two of you taking the
Yeah.
time out of your busy schedules to come and to share this with our community. I'm sure all our viewers felt like this was time well spent. And we have your website, and we can, people can go on your website, and I know that from time to time you have free classes, free practice sessions that people can attend.
We have a lot of variety that we offer. We also do private sessions, all of us too. We work with families and couples and individuals. There's a lot offered from this organization.
Yeah, all kinds of classes and workshops, and it's all on the website. Yeah.
Wonderful. So anything in closing? We have about a minute that you want to conclude with?
Well, you know, this is about communication, but it's as much as about communication with ourselves. And I think you mentioned that in different ways too, Aviva. That over and over again, relationships with ourselves enable us to have better relationships with other people.
So it's about our inner dialogue.
It is.
Totally, inner dialogue and
Perfect.
changing patterns of guilt and shame and self-judgments.
And practice.
Over and over.
Well, thanks so much for joining us at Take Back Our Power. I'm Joy Bina, and it's been a pleasure having you with us today. Bye-bye.
Joy Bina is an author. Check out her book, The 10 Most Nutritious Recipes on the Planet, and Step into Radiant Health. It's available at Amazon.com.